My name is Michael Vance. For nearly 26 years, I walked the dark corridors of homicide investigation. When people ask me what eats away at a detective the most, they expect me to say the blood, the crime scene photos, or the court trials. But it's none of those. It's the silence. It's the unanswered questions hanging in the air when a case goes cold, leaving a family trapped in a nightmare that never ends. Back in 1999, technology was evolving, but analog evidence was still the backbone of major investigations. Magnetic audio tapes, physical answering machine cassettes, and grain-heavy landline recordings. That was our world, and it was inside a single degraded magnetic tape from 1999 that a killer thought he had buried his secret forever. It began on a frigid October night in 1999. 21-year-old college student Laura Bennett vanished from her small apartment near the university campus. Her front door was unlocked, her coat was still hanging on the rack, and a half-empty mug of tea sat cold on the kitchen counter. There was no sign of a forced entry, no struggle marks on the floor, and not a single drop of blood. It was as if she had stepped out into the midnight air and simply ceased to exist. The last piece of communication anyone received from Laura was a voicemail left on her sister's home answering machine at 11:42 p.m. The recording was only 14 seconds long. Laura's voice sounded shaky and tense. "Hey, Sarah. It's me. I'm leaving the library now. Someone's following me down the alleyway. If I'm not back in 10 minutes, please call." Then the line cut off into a harsh wall of static. We combed every alleyway between the university library and her apartment. We interviewed dozens of students, professors, night shift campus security guards, and local business owners. We brought in suspect after suspect, including her ex-boyfriend and a local handyman with a history of trespassing. But every lead collapsed under the weight of alibis and zero physical DNA evidence. Days bled into months. Months bled into agonizing years. Laura's mother passed away in 2011, never knowing what happened to her youngest daughter. Her file was eventually moved into a steel cabinet in the precinct basement, gathering dust alongside decades of unsolved heartbreaks. For 25 years, that cassette tape stayed locked inside an evidence bag. Every couple of years, I would pull out the tape, put on headphones, and play those 14 seconds over and over again until my ears hurt. I memorized every inflection in Laura's voice, every pop of static, every subtle hiss in the background. I knew there was something hidden in that audio, but the late 90s technology simply couldn't lift the curtain. Then came early 2025. I was 6 months away from mandatory retirement, but I couldn't walk away with Laura Bennett's case still open. I reached out to a specialized digital forensics lab equipped with modern AI audio restoration tools. I brought the original 1999 cassette tape to a young audio analyst named Specialist David Miller. "Detective Vance," David explained as he loaded the magnetic tape onto a digitized high-resolution reel. "In 1999, analog noise reduction wiped out low-frequency background sounds when trying to clean up a voice track. But modern AI spectral isolation doesn't just cut noise. It separates every sound wave into distinct isolation channels. We can strip away the static, isolate the background hum, and hear what was happening around her." David ran the 14-second recording through the neural restoration network. On the monitor, the blocky, messy audio wave transformed into dozens of clean, isolated, color-coded frequencies. First, he muted Laura's voice. Then, he stripped out the heavy landline static. What was left behind in the background isolation channel was a clear ambient room tone and a distinct rhythmic metallic sound. Chime, chime, chime. It was a delicate, high-pitched double chime, occurring every 4 seconds. "Is that a clock tower?" I asked, leaning in closer to the speakers. "No," David said, zooming in on the microwave form. "A clock tower reverberates across open air. This sound is enclosed, tight, and metallic. Listen closer." He boosted the high-end frequencies. The chime had a soft, mechanical ticking behind it, followed by a tiny spring-loaded click. It wasn't an outdoor ambient sound. It was the distinct, acoustic signature of a rare, vintage mechanical pocket watch, specifically a 1940s silver repeating pocket watch that chimed the quarter hour on internal gongs. My breath caught in my throat. The caller wasn't outside in an alleyway when she recorded that message. Laura was inside an enclosed space, a vehicle or a room, standing directly next to someone carrying a vintage chiming pocket watch. I pulled out the original 1999 suspect file. I flipped past the names of the college students, the ex-boyfriend, and the random street offenders. I went straight to the witness statements collected from campus staff. Page 42. A statement from 42-year-old Professor Rich Sterling, who taught European history at the university in 1999. In his original 1999 interview, Professor Sterling claimed he was grading papers alone in his campus office until midnight and saw nothing unusual. But listed deep in his personal background check from 25 years ago was a small detail noted by the original detective. Subject is an avid collector of pre-WII antique timepieces and vintage pocket watches. In 1999, no one connected a professor's hobby to a missing student. But in 2025, that 14-second audio wave pointed directly at him. Armed with the new audio evidence, we reopened the file and obtained a search warrant for Sterling's current residence, a quiet, rural farmhouse he had lived in for the past 20 years. When my team breached the home, we searched his private study. Inside a locked glass display case sitting on his oak desk was a 1942 silver repeating pocket watch. When our forensic technician gently wound the crown, it produced the exact, identical high-pitched double chime captured on Laura's 1999 tape. Deep beneath the floorboards of an old storage shed on Sterling's property, forensic teams discovered human remains, along with a silver key ring belonging to Laura Bennett. We arrested Richard Sterling that night. Sitting across from me in the interrogation room, the white-haired former professor tried to play the fragile, confused academic. "You have no proof I was ever near her that night, detective," he stammered, his hands trembling. "It's been 25 years." I pulled out a tablet, plugged in a small speaker, and played the restored 1999 audio track. The clear sound of his own pocket watch chiming in the background echoed through the cold interrogation room. I pushed the audio spectrograph printout across the metal table. "Your watch gave your statement 25 years ago, Richard. It just took us a while to listen." Sterling looked at the waveform, his posture slumping as the last remaining layer of arrogance drained out of him. He confessed to the abduction and murder of Laura Bennett before the night was over. In late 2025, Richard Sterling was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Justice doesn't always come with speed. Sometimes it sits quietly on a shelf inside a dusty cassette tape, waiting for technology to tear away the noise. The shadows of 1999 have finally faded, and Laura Bennett can finally rest in peace.